Hello all, thanks for tuning back into CryptoMainly. My name's Lee, as you know. Just a couple of things on the chart I've noticed I'd like to talk to you about. I've heard some mutterings of the crypto's dead, first mutterings of crypto's dead and Bitcoin's dead and all those things. The bottom's in and everything's up from now and bits and pieces. So just what I'd like to give you my take on that really. So hopefully guys in the Telegram group, you're enjoying the new things. So obviously the news channel now. Basically what happens previously I was looking through the news, just going by headlines and posting what I thought would be of interest to the people in the group, knowing the guys that are in the group and what you're interested in. I thought I'd just post that in there, just for interest's sake. And obviously, um, it took a lot of time, and it wasn't the best way of doing it, to be quite honest. So what I've done now is basically what happens is every hour, the headlines for the main crypto news channels are all checked. They're all scraped and fed into ChatGPT. ChatGPT reads the article thoroughly and then grades the article out of 10. And then obviously, depending on the score, that article is then forwarded to the group. So now you've actually got like an AI vetted news articles which are coming in. So it cuts out the news and all the fluff and things which goes on, and hopefully just gives us more targeted information for the coins that we're really interested in. So if you're interested in expanding the coins, I can do that. There's only the top 5 in there at the moment. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. I forget what the other two are now, but if you want to see more about your own particular coin and you're in the VIP group, just let me know and I'll add those on for you. So as well, what it does now is it also forwards the information onto the Twitter account as well. And you'll notice if you click on the Twitter account, it actually takes you through to a link to the Telegram group. So this is hopefully going to attract more members into our public group, and then obviously with a view to them joining the VIP, all being well. So obviously website all still going. Still quite handy, a lot of information on there. All these links and things all work. They actually take you to places you can search for the coin of interest, and it takes you direct to, so for example, if you wanted an unusual coin, you click on search, it takes you into CoinGecko for that coin and tells you all about it. So, it's got all the information there about Floki, for example. So I'm sure that some of you know how that works anyway, because most of you have probably seen the website now. If you'd like to enter your email address in there and obviously your Telegram name, we can add you onto the mailing list. And if you put your Telegram name in there, I'll pop you into the group as well if you'd like to do that. Alternatively, there are all sorts of links here, so there's all sorts of ways. If you click the Start Here button, that takes you into the public group, which is free as well. So if you'd like to come in, do come along and join. And we'll look to give you the best information that I possibly can moving forward. So the alarm's just gone off for Bitcoin, so Bitcoin is moving up at the moment once again. But I just wanted to show you a couple of things really, guys. So we're looking at this now. This is something which I posted in the VIP group, and this is the area that I'm thinking of buying. This is a buying window, so we've got a time scale here based on all sorts of different measures and points and analysis from the last previous cycles and things. Measurements from halvings and all sorts of things. So this is this time scale, particularly the center green box there, so the light green boxes, I think the area where particularly if we get into this green area, I'll be particularly looking at what prices at that point that it gets into that area, because I'm expecting prices to come down and obviously ideally hopefully we'll get inside this green box, but obviously we've got long-standing support here and obviously at the bottom there. You've also got the 382 level there from the low here to the high. You've got a 382 level here and support here, and also you've got the zero point 0.5 level here and support there. And that blue dotted line there is the average price when the ETF's launched. Okay, so this price here, this price point, is the average price that when the ETFs were launched for Bitcoin. That's sort of the average price. So I suspect we'll probably dip below that, take out some liquidity, and possibly we don't quite know how deep this wick's going to go. But I suspect that once we get down to people breaking even and things, that we'll probably see a sell-off where people start to panic a little bit. And I wonder if we get down to maybe the 618 here at 34,000, somewhere in this region. Obviously, what I'm doing myself personally is I'm running an accelerated DCA strategy inside this area here. So obviously, we'll be keeping a close eye on things as time goes on because we're mid-October now. Sorry, mid-August now rather. So we'll be keeping a close eye on things. But generally speaking, I think that we'll be somewhere in this box. So time will tell. We'll have a look at that nearer the time, guys. I have developed a Super Guppy indicator, which is based on the Super Guppy itself, and as you can see, what it's done. So what the new indicator does is it looks at the red the moving averages here, and it looks at the gap between the moving averages. It watches for it flattening off, and gives us a flattening off indicator, as you can see at the bottom there, the purple one. And it also gives us a V turn indicator. So let's say, for example, on this latest one, you see the purple dot there. That's a V turn. So basically, the moving averages had a sort of a reversal here, and the warning came up very quickly actually. So it's very nice to get that warning. It wasn't very clear on the prices because the prices were going up, but you very quickly got that warning to say that there's a V shape change in the moving averages there, which was really useful. So obviously I'll be posting things like this in the group for you. And what this does, the latest part, as you can see here. So if we look back through time, you'll notice that the orange little orange triangles there are telling us different price points, as you can see. It's very accurate, and what it basically does is it measures the distance between the moving averages, okay, in price points. And what it does is it measures from like the flattening point when it gets to the point where you've got a 20 to 30% squeeze in those moving averages. So the distance between the lowest and the highest moving average. Once so from the low, once the moving averages for the super guppy squeeze 20 to 30%, then it gives an indication that prices, it's actually reversing. So you can see this is a good example here. So you got, we got into the red zone, we got a flattening off, but we didn't get that squeeze. Even when we got this little pump here, it didn't give us the squeeze sign to say, look, the prices are changing. And then obviously once we get that signal at the bottom, it's very clear. So again, guys, I'll be letting you know when that happens in the group. So here again, you've got the squeeze. So you can see from the orange indicators there, if you, I mean, obviously it's not caught the bottom. The flattening section gives us the first warning, so we do get an indicator to say that the supercut is flattening off. So I will pop that in the group as well. And then obviously you've got once the squeeze happens 20 to 30%. That comes after the bottom, but obviously it's the point where price, as you can see on the chart here, if you look at where the orange lines are, this is where the price really starts to take off. Obviously it's come back down and retested because this is a March COVID situation, 2020, March 2020. But generally speaking, I mean, even if if you bought here, you've got a second signal later on. But obviously, as you can see, even if you'd bought the first signal, this is a lower high here. So even if you'd bought there, you'd still be quite happy with that. So, guys, where are we now? We're actually at a point where there's no bottom signal yet. There's certainly no 20% or 20 to 30% squeeze on this indicator. In fact, if we zoom in, you'll see that they're actually still pointed to the downside. Okay, so the moving averages are still all pointing to the downside, and not quite got to the point yet where we're sort of out of the downward pressure just yet. Okay, so that was that. I'm looking out for, for that indicator. If that happens ahead of time, then, perhaps I'll be starting to DCA a little bit sooner. Depends on whether we get, this signal particularly. So I'll keep you posted on that, guys. As I say, there's alerts set and things, so I will keep you informed. Okay, so just looking at I just want to revisit the pi cycle top indicator, and people are saying that this indicator, is no longer valid and it was dead, obviously, because it missed the last cycle. But uh, you know, I mean, if you actually look, what happens is the pi cycle top indicator, once you got the blue and turquoise there, once it crosses the purple, then you get the top signals there. Okay, and obviously this cycle it didn't. You can see that the purple is well above price. Price never even got to the purple, much less the moving averages crossing. So, it's a bit of an understated cycle. We all know that, and we've all, everybody talks about how altcoins underperformed and Bitcoin didn't do anything too spectacular. Normally, Bitcoin surprises people in every cycle, but this time not particularly. And as you can see, despite obviously having a mid-cycle peak, which happens every time, as you can see, you do get a mid-cycle peak on each cycle. Even down in the early days, look, you do get that touch into the top purple line. Yeah, before you get the big sort of lift off. So you do get a mid-cycle peak before the lift off. We got the mid-cycle peak, but we didn't even reach the top of the band there. So people were disappointed with that, and they've said that this indicator's dead and things like that. I don't think so myself personally. I think this is going to prove to be it's going to be revived, shall we say? Particularly if you look where the purple line is now. So that moving average is at 164,000, and obviously as we go into the end of the next cycle is going to be sort of towards the end of 2029, so 3 years from now. That's price is going to be somewhere I'd say, up north of 220,000, I would have thought. So by the time obviously this starts to tip up, you'll see that moving. But the reason I'm showing you this particularly is that the cycle bottom indicators have been very accurate throughout the whole of the time. Okay, you can see the cycle. So pi cycle low, pi cycle low, pi cycle low. I've marked them with a vertical line so you can see where the low point is. But what you'll notice is you've got the blue and the green and blue, or sorry, green and turquoise moving averages, and they cross over the red moving average. Okay, and then that is what triggers the last cascade down to the cycle low. Okay, so you can see there you've got the blue and turquoise moving down. It crosses the red moving average, and then you get the final sort of capitulation. If we look at this one again, despite Bitcoin moving sort of at around sort of 6,000, between 6 and 8,000 for, I think that was probably about a year and a half. Was it May 18 to where are we? Where was it? So we got from about there, I'd say. So that was 8,000 there. So that was March 2018. So it's in November 18 actually. So what's that? That's about 8 months. So 8 months of going between sort of 6 and 8,000, and then obviously everybody thinking that the six was going to be the floor, and then obviously we got this sudden capitulation. So what happened? Again, the moving averages came down. They crossed the red moving average there, and then you get the final capitulation to the bottom. What you'll notice is that the capitulation starts when the moving averages start to cross. Okay, so and it's usually the downward movement is usually before the moving averages cross the red line. Okay, so again here it's actually before, slightly before. Um, I thought that was quite interesting. Obviously, if we look at the next one as well, same again. You get these moving averages come down, they cross the red. Prices starts to move down, and then when you get the cross into the red, you get the final capitulation. But just think about the capitulation side of it for a moment, guys. If you look at the size of that capitulation, so from when, let's say, even if we go roughly from when the cross downwards happened from the red moving average. So let's just measure from the red to the bottom for now. Let's just put the magnet on to make it more accurate. So let's say where the red moving average is about there, and then down. So that's a 55% move from the point that those moving averages cross to the downside. This one here, I can't really get it onto the. Hang on 1 second. Let me just get it onto the red moving average there, and then down to the bottom. So where are we? So let's say, yeah, about 46% drop on that one. See, this is on a log scale, so it doesn't look as horrendous. But again, this one here from the red moving average down to the bottom, 48%. Okay, so we're talking 35 to 50% capitulations from the point that the moving average has crossed to the downside. Okay, so just bear that in mind. 35 to 45%, shall we say? Just looking at now where we are at the moment. Okay, so some people are saying that we've got an understated top, so we might get an understated bottom. But just look at this for a second. So you've got the red moving average here. Okay, so price, it's moved below the red moving average, but by no means anywhere near what it has in the past. Okay, and also the green and the turquoise moving averages are moving down. They're converging. They're still pointing to the downside. You can see that the red moving average, the slowest moving average, is still tipping to the downside, and these two moving averages are to the downside as well. Okay, so what's going to happen is you are going to get this cross possibly, unless prices pump and reclaim these levels, these moving averages. But at the moment, it's looking like we're actually, if you look at price where it is now, we're under all of those moving averages on a pi cycle top and bottom indicator. So that's going to be a heavy resistance there, and all of the moving averages are converging, which means that it's going to be even harder to break through that area. So the chances are, guys, is that if that does happen, we do get that cross. There's going to be that's the point where you get these big capitulations. That could be anywhere between 35 and 50%. So if we look at that now, we're at 35,000. 50% would take us back down to the 30s. So I think it's still time to be careful, guys. I think we need to really think about it. I know that these little pumps and things, they do sort of tend to set you off, and you start to think, oh look, I'm going to miss out, and think and it's time to jump in and all of these things. But we're at August now. We've still got a couple of months to go.